Leonardo DiCaprio has romanced supermodels, reveled on opulent superyachts, and scooped up virtually every accolade Hollywood can bestow. Yet, there's one female collaborator he absolutely despised, and it wasn't the figure you'd anticipate. She was youthful, gifted, and collaborating with him on a project destined to etch itself into cinematic legend. He viewed her as overly earnest. She perceived him as immature and petulant. The production site morphed into a veritable war zone. Upon wrapping, they forged an unspoken vow to steer clear of one another indefinitely. Today, we're unveiling the unvarnished truth of their explosive clash. Leonardo DiCaprio's moniker emerged from a serendipitous instant that bordered on destiny. In 1974, his expectant mother lingered within Florence, Italy's Uffizi Gallery, gazing upon a masterpiece by Leonardo da Vinci, when she sensed her unborn child stir for the inaugural occasion. That precise epiphany prompted her to christen her offspring Leonardo. He entered the world on November 11, 1974, in Los Angeles, bearing the full appellation Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio. The middle moniker honored his paternal grandfather, Wilhelm, of German lineage. His mother had endured her own tumultuous delivery. Born amid the turmoil of World War II on February 7, 1943, in Germany, as explosives detonated beyond the confines of an air raid bunker. Thus, from the outset, theatrics and fervor appeared woven into this lineage's fabric. Tranquility proved fleeting, however. Merely a year post Leonardo's arrival, his parents parted ways in 1975. His father, George, had succumbed to affection for another lady. Rather than sever ties outright, they devised an unconventional arrangement. They relocated to adjacent modest dwellings abutting a communal garden, one abode for his mother, the other for his father, his fresh paramour, and her offspring, Adam. Leonardo shuttled betwixt the pair, where this blend of constancy and disarray forged his resilient persona. His paternal realm brimmed with subterranean artistry and graphic novels. George once quipped that since tuition for higher education eluded them, the lad would simply ascend to silver screen stardom. Despite their estrangement, his progenitors remained steadfast champions of his aspirations. Certain summers, Leonardo sojourned in Germany with his grandparents, earning 10 marks and colossal ice cream treats as incentives. During one such vacation, on August 25, 1984, he plunged into a breakdancing showdown in Erkwitz. Dubbed the Noodle, he gyrated shoeless and clinched runner-up status. He coveted that Walkman so intensely he teetered on the brink of tears. At a mere 9, he boogied with the poise of a seasoned performer. That defeat stung sufficiently that, by 11, he contemplated abandoning acting for a dedicated breakdancing odyssey. He buskied on thoroughfares and vied in neighborhood dance skirmishes. His grandmother Helen, who endured until 2008, instilled his forthright, incisive articulation. Even amid superstardom, he frequented her abode. Yet, his domestic milieu was gritty. His formative neighborhood in East Hollywood bore the moniker Scum Boulevard. Felonies lurked omnipresent. Sex workers loitered on his block's corner. Narcotics fiends meandered the pavements. It evoked a tableau from Taxi Driver. He and his mother resided at 1874 Hillhurst Avenue, encircled by fractured avenues and peril. His mother toiled diligently as a legal clerk, striving to stitch their existence together. Leonardo witnessed this strife and resolved to extricate them. Casting calls transcended mere reverie. They embodied deliverance. Thespian pursuits constituted his conduit from indigence and a lifeline for his matriarch. His inaugural scholastic haven, Seeds Elementary, now UCLA Lab School, enchanted him. He dubbed it a serene sanctuary teeming with diverse progeny. Secondary education diverged starkly. At John Marshall High School, he endured torment. His nomenclature was anomalous. His vitality clashed with the milieu. Severity escalated post-freshman year, prompting his withdrawal. He implored his mother to chauffeur him to auditions ceaselessly. He procured his GED subsequently, yet never revisited academia. He had fleetingly fancied marine biology, yet emulating personas and embodying roles resonated as his authentic vocation. Forsaking education was a perilous wager, yet one he embraced. His debut spectacle transpired at age 2 in 1976. Amid a festivity, melodies commenced, and diminutive Leonardo erupted into choreography. Unauthorized though it was, the throng's ovation and huzzas ignited an indelible spark. Thereafter, he ceaselessly mimicked accents and inflections before any beholder. His domicile evolved into an improvisational arena. His mother discerned his prodigious aptitude forthwith. Yet, not all ventures unfolded seamlessly. In 1979, aged 5, he secured a gig on the juvenile program Romper Room, yet his restlessness prevailed. He cavorted, somersaulted, even swatted the lens. The ensemble couldn't corral him. They refrained from outright dismissal, merely ceasing his footage. It morphed into familial jest. Yet, it imparted a pivotal axiom. Amusement alone suffices not. Regimen is imperative. By 14, in 1988, he hawked television endorsements. He peddled Matchbox vehicles, Kraft singles, Bubble Yum, and Apple Jacks. Each commercial imparted sagacity. He assimilated directives, articulated cues, and maintained composure amid duress. He accrued thousands. His progenitors sequestered the funds, oblivious to nurturing a nascent Oscar laureate. Nonetheless, the trajectory remained jagged. In 1989, Leonardo snagged a minuscule part in the nascent Lassie, succeeding 18 months of rebuffs. He endured nigh 100 tryouts and selection. A casting overseer once urged his sire to rebrand him Lenny Williams for Americanness. His father erupted, shredding the fabricated headshot and vowing eternal fidelity to his son's moniker. Persistent turndowns eroded him. Post another fruitless session, he sobbed en route home, lamenting, "Dad, I aspire to act, yet if this constitutes the ordeal, I fear I lack fortitude." His father exhorted perseverance. That bolstering resonated profoundly. Though he garnered silver in that 1984 German dance fray, subsequent accounts erroneously cited bronze. Veritably, the shortfall devastated him. In 1987, at 11, he neared forsaking thespian pursuits for perpetual breakdancing. He capered unshod on sidewalks, sporting eccentric coiffures. Hollywood emissaries puzzled over his archetype, yet his patriarch permitted unbridled authenticity. In 1990, fortune pivoted. He clinched a recurrent television berth in Parenthood as Gary Buckman. Aged 16, he collaborated with luminaries like Ron Howard. He featured in 12 installments and vied for finest youthful thespian. It afforded his inaugural savor of Hollywood assimilation. Subsequently, in 1991, he infiltrated Growing Pains as Luke Brower, a vagrant adolescent. Fabricators appended him to invigorate viewership, aspiring to recapture prior heartthrob allure. He graced 23 episodes. Astute, assured, he garnered another nascent artist accolade nomination. Nearing the denouement, they excised him to facilitate this boy's life in 1993, a metamorphosis catalyst. Preceding that watershed cinema loomed a regrettable interlude. He yearned obscurity. His 1991 flick Critters 3 was a direct-to-video cassette horror sequel. Low budget, replete with latex extraterrestrials, it merited a dismal 23% approbation. He incarnated Josh, progeny of a venal proprietor. The venture floundered. Confined to solitary edifice, segments obscured obscurity. DiCaprio disavowed it not, yet seldom evoked it. An antecedent solemn endeavor transpired on the sudsy serial Santa Barbara. In 1990, he embodied juvenile Mason Capwell in retrospections. Merely 5 episodes, yet the tempo was ferocious. He memorized voluminous dialogues diurnal. Such exigency fortified him for cinematic rigors. He vied anew at the 12th Youth in Film Awards. Leonardo DiCaprio, scarcely 18, vied for this boy's life in 1993. Initially, he had a subordinate berth. Fresh from growing pains, he perused. Yet, upon recitation, the ambience transmuted. Robert De Niro, dual Oscar laureate, pivoted to overseer Art Linson, declaring that youth harbors rarity. Leo transcended recitation. He extemporized, hazarded, deviated from script. De Niro seldom championed neophytes, yet advocated his primacy. Leo's inaugural substantial cinematic incarnation inaugurated a 30-year synergy with De Niro, from Marvin's Room in 1996 to Killers of the Flower Moon in 2023. Concurrently, in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, 19-year-old Leo eclipsed Christian Bale for Arnie. Beyond line delivery, Leo frequented intellectually challenged adolescents' domicile, scrutinizing gestures, discourse, responses. He sustained characterization sans lens. Spectators mistook him for authentically impaired. At 19, he clinched inaugural Oscar nomination for supporting thespian. Filming commenced November 2, 1992, concluding late January 1993, chiefly in Austin and Pflugerville, Texas. Detractors lauded his visceral authenticity, brimming innocence and caprice. By 1995, Leo ventured audaciously in The Basketball Diaries. He portrayed Jim Carroll, adolescent ensnared in heroin ensnarement. For Withdrawal Vignettes, Leo dissected veritable addicts, emulating detoxification. He writhed, perspired, frothed. In a harrowing tableau, his persona peddled carnality in a lavatory for 35 hours. Overseer Scott Calvert captured these over grueling diurnals. Leo feigned agony not. He convulsed floorward, unleashing. Detractors deemed it 1990's most unflinchingly voracious enactments. Later that annum, in Total Eclipse, Leo hazarded profoundly. Aged 20, he embodied Gallic bard Arthur Rimbaud in a venture grossing scant $350,000 domestically. It encompassed same-gender amorous vignettes and unabashed nudity, including Leo's frontal exposure at a casement. The opus garnered our classification for vehement carnality and brutality. Periodicals like Playgirl disbursed fortunes for stills. Numerous venues spurned exhibition. Though historically anchored, American patrons recoiled from witnessing their nascent adolescent luminary in such unvarnished, mature guise. It nigh terminated his trajectory prematurely. Concurrently, in 1995, Sharon Stone transfigured Leo's trajectory. He vied for the quick and the dead, yet the atelier demurred. They admonished Sharon, "If you covet him, remunerate personally." She acquiesced, disbursing over $100,000 from her emoluments. She subsidized Russell Crowe's stipend too. Leo, sole thespian weeping in the entreaty for paternal affection, owed her eternally. He professed, "I cannot thank her sufficiently." That opus propelled him inexorably toward Titanic. Upon Titanic's December 19, 1997, premiere, pandemonium ensued. The epic amassed $2.2 billion, catapulting Leo to Paramount cinematic luminary. Yet, the Odyssey was merciless. Aqueous reservoirs chilled to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Kate Winslet contracted pneumonia. Leo lingered in thermal immersion, averting frostbite. Then, pandemonium erupted. Nocturnally, Cruise clam bisque laced with PCP felled circa 80 souls, hallucinating and retching en route to infirmaries. Overseer James Cameron exacted 20-hour diurnals. Personnel succumbed. Leo netted $2.5 million despite $200 million expenditure. That colossus nigh pulverized all, yet exalted Leo globally. In 2006, amid Blood Diamond intermission, Leo confronted his Salacian phobia. He partook in a philanthropic submersible jaunt off Cape Town. Mishap ensued. A 15-foot great white collided with the enclosure, infiltrating halfway. Leo compressed floorward as it gnashed scant inches from his visage. Crew attested inaugural such incursion in 30 years. Leo deemed it utterly harrowing, vowing abstention. In 1998, Leo ensued Titanic with The Man in the Iron Mask. It grossed $183 million, yet elicited ambivalent critiques. Leo dualized as malevolent sovereign and incarcerated sibling. Off camera, his exigency irked. He demanded bespoke saber tutors, accent mentors, and 4-hour mute maquillage. Atelier hastened to exploit Titanic afterglow. Retaliation ensued. Detractors deemed him gauche juxtaposed to veterans like John Malkovich and Jeremy Irons. Earlier in 1997, Leo spurned Boogie Nights. Overseer Paul Thomas Anderson tailored Dirk Diggler's mantle post-basketball diaries. Leo's emissaries urged Titanic. He forfeited $3 million and 5% profits, eclipsing $50 million. He confided to Anderson subsequently that evading the opus constituted his gravest blunder, a specter persisting. In 2002, Gangs of New York thrust Leo into Uncharted. Filmed in Rome over months with 18-hour vigils. He counterpoised Daniel Day-Lewis, who sustained characterization perpetually. Leo ventured, "Good morning," once, Day-Lewis grunted. He shunned contemporary seats, embodying Bill the Butcher intermissions. That friction rendered on-screen antagonism visceral. For 2004's The Aviator, Leo incarnated Howard Hughes. He emaciated and dissected obsessive-compulsive disorder. He convened veritable OCD-afflicted and UCLA savants. Amid production, his juvenile mild OCD resurfaced. He enacted vignettes wherein Hughes abraded palms sanguinary. The $110 million opus garnered 11 Oscar nominations. Leo procured inaugural Best Thespian nod. In 2000 SIX's The Departed, Leo confronted Jack Nicholson's extemporization. In a startling tableau, Nicholson brandished a veritable firearm unannounced, aiming at Leo's countenance. On-screen terror was authentic. Leo anticipated not. Nicholson brandished accoutrements and ad-libbed eerie locutions, sans forewarning. That caprice plunged Leo deeper into his covert constable unraveling. Concurrently, 2006, Blood Diamond exacted anew. He drilled for impeccable South African inflection and scrutinized bona fide mercenaries. The opus probed Sierra Leonean child conscripts. Leo encountered orphans and beheld warfare's ravages. He assimilated juveniles compelled to trek diurnals and slaughter kin. Humanitarian collectives estimated 10,000 implicated juveniles. Leo collaborated intimately with 24 veritable juveniles in the opus. It netted another Oscar nomination and $171 million. In 2008, Leo reconvened with Kate Winslet for Revolutionary Road. They embodied a 1950s unraveling duo. Altercations resonated authentically, mirroring off-camera spats. Leo dissected 1950s masculinity, discourse, inhalation, internalized ire. Emotional heft was onerous. Kate averred subsequent depletion. In 2013, Leonardo DiCaprio clinched a Golden Globe for The Great Gatsby. Detractors deemed his J. Gatsby incarnation pinnacle. The $105 million venture amassed $353 million globally, tripling outlay despite ambivalent approbations. Yet, triumph soured. Detractors highlighted his opulent existence mirroring Gatsby's, lavish galas in Cannes, yacht sojourns, billionaire libertine aura. Precisely what Gatsby's detractors assailed. Headlines proliferated. The opus ostensibly cautioning materialism mirrored DiCaprio's persona. Nonetheless, detractors extolled his thespian prowess. One dubbed it tremendous and arduous, unveiling Gatsby's strata. Resilient, susceptible, fabricated, droll, tragic. The laurel evidenced versatility, yet recrimination obscured jubilation. Annually later, 2014's The Wolf of Wall Street yielded Oscar nomination. Memorable vignette. Leo, Quaalude intoxicated, crawls floorward, unscripted. He drew from YouTube's drunkest man in the world. The opus uttered fuck over 500 instances, shattering records. It grossed $47 million domestically, Scorsese's zenith. Leo vied dually for thespian and producer, his quaternary and canary nods, yet capitulated to Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club. Detractors debated whether the opus lionized Wall Street avarice or admonished it. Off camera, shadows loomed. Red Granite Pictures, partial financier, entangled in $4.5 billion Malaysian 1 MDB embezzlement. DiCaprio repatriated sundry largesses, encompassing $3.2 million Picasso and $9 million Basquiat collage. In 2015, DiCaprio triumphed Oscar for The Revenant. Yet, tribulation preceded. He slumbered within veritable equine cadaver and ingested raw bison hepatic for one tableau. Filming's gelid rigors imperiled hypothermia. The 156-day wilderness odyssey harnessed solely natural luminescence. The Ursine assault, viscerally authentic, amalgamated myriad veritable onslaughts and CGI. Initially, script stipulated Hugh Glass combats Ursine. DiCaprio discerned survival, not a fray. He likened it to Felid toying with yarn skein. Post-quinary defeats, he vanquished inaugural Oscar aged 41. In 2020, DiCaprio vied anew for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He incarnated Rick Dalton, waning thespian coveting Oscar, mirroring DiCaprio's nascent era. The mantle exacted profound emotive toil. He extemporized vignettes of lachrymose collapse. Detractors deemed it zenith opus. His synergy with Brad Pitt forged indelible instants, notably on obsolescence. Though capitulating to Joaquin Phoenix in Joker, myriad deemed him meritorious. The mantle homage to vintage Hollywood. Leonardo DiCaprio erected formidable archetype, solemn thespian, climatic crusader, purposeful patriarch. Yet, backstage, blemishes marred. In 2013 to 2014, affluent Malaysian financier Joe Low lavished DiCaprio opulent baubles. One, $3.2 million Picasso. Another, $9 million Jean-Michel Basquiat collage, plus Marlon Brando's primordial Oscar statuette. Aggregate, $12.2 million. Provenance, pilfered from Malaysia's 1MDB, $3 billion evaporated. Aggravatingly, The Wolf of Wall Street, DiCaprio's opus, partially financed via $238 million siphoned, routed through Red Granite Pictures, abutting DiCaprio's Appian Way Productions. In 2017, DiCaprio repatriated to U.S. Fisc. Justice Department dubbed it planetary embezzlement zenith. Queries persisted. Whilst DiCaprio sermonized planetary salvation, comportment provoked scrutiny. In 2014 Sextet Weeks, he jetted privately hexad instances. Even commercial equivalents, 44 tons carbon efflux. Privates emit 37-fold per capita. He chartered UAE oil magnates quintal yacht globally. In 2016, he jetted 8,000 miles Europe-New York for climatic laurel. Savants tallied annual footprint circa 10,000 tons, 500-fold average American. Though Arboreal Initiative participated, detractors deemed insufficient offset. See you in the next video.